Oh, hi. I'm just reading this fantastic newspaper called Brand Cult. Let me tell you some more about it, and also the person who invented it, the proprietor, the owner, the publisher, the graphic designer. It's all one person. So the person I'm talking about is Kierian Cameron. During our conversation, one key phrase, I keep using it again and again, that Kierian brought up. I don't know if she thought of it herself or she'd heard it somewhere, but she said,
"Your network is your net worth."
And I've been quoting that to several people, making myself sound intelligent. Kierian's the founder of this newspaper. You can see it in the previous shot. There we are, Brand Cult. A business newspaper, only available in print, which is a great pitch. I like the idea that you can only absorb its content if you hold it in your hand, on paper. And the first thing I wanted to do was make sure I got pronunciation right, but also find out where all those I's came from in her name.
Kierian. Am I pronouncing that right? Because you've got a lot of I's in there.
Kierian.
Kierian. Is that what it is?
Yes.
on the podcast, I heard you introduce as Kieran, and I thought, is that right?
No.
And is that Scottish?
Actually, it's based on the Irish boy's name, Kieran.
Right.
But my mum wanted a boy, and when I was a girl, she added the extra I, and she said it sounded more feminine. But as you can see, I still get Kieran all the time.
By the way, there is a podcast that I will link where Kierian goes into a full life story. We're not going to go there. We're talking here on Diary of a Castaway about the motivation for doing something on your own, taking a bold step. What was it with Kierian that motivated her to do something? She saw a gap.
Well, when you've got ADHD, you feel like you have to do everything that pops into your head. But I really did feel in that moment that there was a need for this, because as a new graphic designer who had just set up their own design studio, I myself was looking for a publication, and I wanted something that was designed beautifully so I could be inspired by the designs, but I also wanted the business acumen behind it as well. I wanted to learn from other founders. I wanted to hear their stories. And I know that you can find all of that online, but there's just so much of it. You never know who to listen to. Someone's saying, do this, do that. And so I wanted it all in one place. And I had a look to see what there was out there. And there was a lot of publications in America. One in particular was called Branders Magazine. It was all about brandings, and it talked about, it talked to founders who were in the branding world. But it was in America, and it was at least $25 to ship to the UK. And it didn't really hit on it wasn't holistic in a business point of view. It didn't hit on all the areas. So I kept looking. Obviously, you've got all the business newspapers from the UK, Telegraph, Observer, but you're never really going to learn how to build a business by reading the Observer. You can figure out who's had a good quarter and who got investment, but they don't reveal the stories behind it. How did they get there? What was the messy middle like? Mm-hmm. And so that was the driving cause for me to start Brand Cult, because I wanted it. I wanted a newspaper that was beautifully designed, as I said, and had all of the founder stories and inspiration that I needed.
And this is where I got reminded about a chart I'd seen, or a graph, or a graphic I'd seen called Ikigai. And it's brilliant. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to put it in the top corner while we talk about it, so you can look at it all the way through this part of our conversation. And it will be fascinating to find out where you think you fit on this graphic.
I'm a big believer in Ikigai. Have you heard of Ikigai?
Oh, yes, we want to talk about Ikigai, don't we? Yes, it's like a Bible for life, isn't it? You need to keep looking at it and think, where am I now?
Mm-hmm.
Am I in that? I've recently, because I took redundancy from my previous employment, which was 26 years, I was almost in the center. Yeah. Now I'm probably way off into the not earning enough money part of it, but does that matter? The other ones, for me, the other three are more important.
Exactly. Yeah. And so for anyone that's listening, Ikigai is the Japanese philosophy for finding one's purpose in life. And when I discovered that, like you said, I started from scratch. I wasn't making the money, but I was so happy with what I was doing. And then even more so when I found print. And I realized that this was what made me different from every other graphic designer, and I loved it. And there isn't enough of print out there. So it felt very fulfilling to find that purpose in life.
And as usual, that question, one piece of advice. Anyone else facing a similar situation, what would you say to them?
But my one piece of advice for someone who's starting out at the beginning is to actually not do it alone, is to surround themselves with people who have who are in the same situation with them, or even better, 1 or 2 steps ahead of them. So I say it all the time, but your network is your net worth, and surrounding yourself with people who have done what you want to do in some similar capacity is the greatest thing you can do, because that's why I include stories in Brand Cult, is because we need to learn from the people around us. So, and there's that great saying that you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. They all feed into each other. Just, you know, encouraging your network, even if it's online. Even like we met at a networking online, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. and then this has come from it.
Then as we were talking, I noticed a book on the shelf as Kierian was talking about it. Hadn't seen it until that moment she brought up the third door concept. And again, for Castaways, what a great idea.
The third door concept. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't. I want to hear.
So if you can, it's an analogy. So if you can think of a club, a really popular club, and we'll name it the business club, and everybody wants into the business club. It's so popular that the line is down the block, around the corner. There's a couple of big bouncers on the front door, the main entrance, and it's very, very slow to get into the business club. And we're all standing in line. We're all doing the same thing as everybody else, standing in line, waiting to get into the business club. And we know that there's a second door, but it's for the VIPs, the people with money, the influencers, the people with connections. So that's not us. We can't get in the second door. But what I love to inspire in others is to find the third door. A lot of people don't realize that there's a third door, a different way of doing things. That third door might look like a window. It might look like a crack in the building, a kitchen entrance. But what we've got to do is take a step out of that first line, doing the same thing as everybody else. And we've got to kick that door down at the back and find our own way of doing things. So I like to teach a framework to finding our third door. But basically it's your other way of doing things. So for me, I was a graphic designer. I didn't want to be online. So I went, instead of going digital, I went analog and printed a newspaper. That was my third door. And so I love to inspire others to find their third door.
Thank you, Kierian. I will put a link in with this post on where to subscribe to Brand Cult. I've got a copy, as you saw. In fact, I've got 2. And it smells. She sprays each copy with a scent, special scent, and it's presented so well. And the content's good too. So go and get yourself one.